Hey, this is Natasha, your friendly farmer, and we are in week 9. We're getting new surprises every week, so we're excited to share with you what's in the box. And this week I'm really going to be focusing on different ways to preserve your box. And if you're like me, I get a little behind on my boxes because I've been busy and I haven't been cooking as many meals at home. So I'm going to give you some ideas of what I've done to kind of use up boxes and to put things to good use right away before they go bad. So come walk with me through this week's box. We have a lot of really great exciting things this week. We have some beautiful basil, and I made this amazing, I'm kind of like hoarding it in the fridge because it's so good, garlic and basil aioli. So I took and ground up the basil in a food processor with a couple cloves of garlic. I really didn't use recipes for anything, so forgive me. So some basil, a couple cloves of garlic, maybe a couple tablespoons or so of olive oil, and make kind of a paste with that, and then blend in your mayonnaise and some fresh squeezed lemon juice. And it was so good. We made zucchini fries last week and breaded them in panko and Parmesan cheese, about 2/3 panko breadcrumbs and 1/3 Parmesan cheese, and then you just deep fry them. And I use that aioli with it. I've used it in sandwiches, I just anything. It's so good. So try that out this week. I really recommend it, and it'll last for a couple of weeks in the fridge. So that is very delicious. We have our dinosaur kale is back, and that one is really fun to use. A favorite kale salad, I think I made a mention back earlier in the season, is to take your kale, and you want to always de-rib it before you start. So you fold it in half, and then you're going to cut that rib out, and then kind of chop it up, and then put in different kinds of onions, peppers, tomatoes, cucumber, carrot, whatever veggies you want, and then Italian dressing and a little Parmesan cheese, and it's a great cold salad. It actually tastes better the next day, improves, so you can have it for a couple of days. So I love making salads like that. So try the kale in that. And they also say to massage the kale so it gets softer. So once you chop it, you can kind of just, like you were making meatballs, kind of massage it. But most of our kale is not as tough as the store-bought kale, so it works pretty well. So there is our beautiful dinosaur kale. I love the color on that, such a beautiful color. And those deep, ridgy Savoy leaves are beautiful as well. Okay, so we've got onions. Every week we've had some different kinds of onion-style plants. Last week we had leeks, and we made scrambled eggs with the leeks yesterday, and they were really, really good. So anything that's kind of like an onion, you can go ahead and use as a substitute, and it's just wonderful and delicious. So these onions have started to dry out. You can see that the ends are kind of dry, so they're going to be more like storage onions. Some of them might be a little green still, so before you put them in the pantry, maybe let them dry out on the counter for a few days, or you can keep them in the fridge. I would probably use up this many onions in a week very easily, so keep them in the fridge, they'll be fine. Okay, we have very cute little fingerling potatoes this week. They are small, they're meant to be small. They're very tasty, creamy, nice little potatoes. So they're red, they might have some little yellow spots, but those are fingerling potatoes. They're a new potato we're featuring this week. And they go down to being very small, so I just wash them up and oil them a little, salt and pepper, roast them, throw them in with anything that you're cooking. Yeah, they're just like little potato gems. All right, we have our last week of kohlrabi this week. We might see a little visit of kohlrabi later in the season. I've got another crop planted, but another kohlrabi for you. Again, raw is delicious. I also steamed it and put it with a cheesy sauce, and that was really, really good. All right, so some of you may be getting beans this week. The beans are just kind of starting to come on. So we do have yellow beans, and those will be our first type of bean, and then we have some other ones planted, purple beans, green beans. They are a little later than usual. We actually had beans for the second week in June and onward last year, so really missed the beans, but our first planting just didn't take with the cold and the wet, and this planting finally did kind of spotty, but hopefully they're going to be coming in strong. So if you get beans, great. If not, look for them in next week's box. Things just kind of starting a little bit there. So we have some dill heads this week. I think we featured those a few weeks back. They do shed the seeds very, very, very quickly, so put them in a brown paper bag or something until you're ready to use it. But what I do is take a whole head, stuff it in a hot sterilized canning jar, and put in a cayenne pepper, a couple cloves of garlic, prepare your vinegar water solution, and it's great for making refrigerator dill pickles. So speaking of those, we do have a lot of cucumbers. This is like a big cucumber week. So we gave you some of the regular English ones, and they're a little bit like smaller size. So what you can do is you could pickle them whole in a canning jar, or you could also quarter them into spears and then make, this would be enough for one great canning jar's worth. So this is a great way to use up your pickles. You want to take and just kind of scrub these down and then stuff them into that jar with the vinegar water solution and the other herbs and spices and things like that, and then they can go in the fridge and they'll last a couple months in the fridge. So it's a great way to use up your cucumbers. You don't have to leave them whole or in spears. You can also do them into slices or chips or anything like that. So some great ideas for making dill pickles. We have corn this week, is another bicolor. This is locally grown. It's not grown on our farm. We don't do the corn, but it is a couple of farmer friends of ours down the road. It is conventional, but this time of the year, corn is really fresh, and I'll take a fresh ear of corn over an ear that's traveled a long distance. It's going to be a little higher in nutrients and taste that way, so the corn is delicious. Enjoy that. We've got some beautiful beets coming on. They are, of course, our tricolor. The golden, the pink ones are the stripy ones, and then our dark ones. So those are delicious. Okay, we've got some carrots this week, and those guys might be a little funky looking. Our soil is not the best for carrots. We have heavier soil, and carrots really like a light, almost like a sandy soil. So they tend to get these funny little legs when the soil's a little too heavy or they're too stressed or whatnot. So you can just snap them off. You can, roast them along with the rest of the carrots. And really, you only need to give them a good scrub. You don't really have to peel them if you don't want to. There's a lot of nutrients in the peel there as well. So delicious things to use, and let us know if you're experimenting at all with the tops. I know some people have made carrot pesto and things like that in the past. So they're so fragrant. They really have this intense carrot smell, and I just love that about them. We've got some cabbages this week, so I'm planning on sauteing mine tonight. I have some chicken planned, and I'm going to saute it with a little bit of onion or leek, and then butter and the cabbage, and I just do it till it's kind of fork tender, and then I add in a sliced apple and a little bit of salt and pepper. So that's a really good way. That was something I grew up with my mom making all the time. So the apple just adds a little bit of sweetness to your cabbage and just a nice, crunchy sauteed cabbage. So I'm going to be making that. We have very, very excited to have peppers finally. These are green bell peppers. We actually have a couple different colors. So you'll be seeing some white ones, some purple ones, some green ones, and then the green ones have to stay on the vine long enough to actually ripen into red peppers. So probably as the nights get cooler into September, we'll start to see some of those red ones. So very excited to see those green bell peppers coming on. And they smell so good too. I've never smelled green pepper smell from store-bought peppers, and these just have a really great smell. So saute those up, eat them fresh, whatever you like. They're going to have a little bit more of a sharp taste than the colored peppers will, but they're wonderful flavor in any of your summer cooking. You make stuffed peppers if you like. All right, we've got an eggplant. Our eggplants are just kind of starting to come on, so I heard some people making different recipes with the eggplant, so always share what you're making. It's fun to see what people are doing. We have a variety of summer squashes here. We've got, some, I don't even know what this little guy is. some of like zucchini, brown zucchini, yellow summer squashes, this fun variety called Zephyr, and the squashes have slowed down a little bit, thank God. I mean, everybody is like, when will the zucchini slow down? So we're getting a little break from those summer squashes, and we'll probably continue having some, but just not quite the quantity that we've had, for which everybody is grateful. Sorry, not sorry. We also have the soy long cucumbers, which are fun and crunchy and crispy, and I do hope you tried that recipe last week that we featured, my mother-in-law's fabulous refrigerator pickles. They're kind of a sweet, sour, got some good like celery salt and mustard seed, and that was in last week's text. We've also got broccoli. Some of you might be getting heads, some of you might be getting bags of broccoli florets. The broccoli florets do have a lot of leaves on them, and so what I suggest is just kind of sauteing them with the leaves and everything, kind of like a broccoli rapini. It's more of a stemmy type of broccoli. You would treat it very much in the same way, where you have the leaves and everything, you just kind of throw them in and you know, saute everything. So the broccoli florets come from after the head is cut, you get these little side shoots. And we have actually 3 different plantings of broccoli. So our very earliest broccoli is putting little tiny shoots out because it's kind of run its life cycle. The middle planting of broccoli is putting out heavier heads, little florets, and then the last one we're still cutting heads from. So we have everything kind of staggered in the garden, so that way we have lots of things coming in all the time and kind of changing. So we love surprising you. So I think I've covered everything. If you do have a lot of greens in your refrigerator, I suggest now to take and cut those, saute a little garlic and onion or whatnot, and then just saute them down, and I put them in little baggies and freeze them for later in the winter when you can add them to soup, top a pizza with it, you know, anything that you might want to stuff lasagna. You can use all those different, you know, sauteed greens in that capacity. For the cucumbers, I do encourage you to try the refrigerator pickles. They're a great way to kind of use up some cucumbers and give yourself a little different flavor. Definitely try that garlic basil aioli, and it'll just, you know, change your world forever. So hopefully those are some helpful tips, and appreciate you listening to me ramble on. We are currently working on weeding our 3rd plot of carrots, trellising tomatoes again. The tomatoes are about like that big or so, but growing every day, and just trying to keep the weeds and the bugs at bay. So thanks so much for your support, and I really appreciate all the fun things you guys have sent me that you're cooking up, and continue to enjoy your boxes. Thanks so much. Natasha from Big Rock Organics. Bye.